Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to another edition of our series, Ahead of the Curve, Digital Marketing Tips, Tricks, and Strategies for Businesses During COVID-19. Before we kick off, let's just do a quick sound check to make sure that we're coming through all right and that you can hear me. Let's just see here. Okay. Excellent. Okay, let's move forward then. Just a couple of things to note. All the lines are muted, so you can submit your questions using the dashboard, the questions section. We will be spending some time doing some Q&A at the end. The webinar will be recorded and will be sent out to you. And just one thing to note, if you do experience an issue with your audio, we do have a huge number of people coming on to these webinars. Just log out and log back in. Oftentimes that will help that. Or another option is you can call in using the telephone number provided. Just a couple of quick things about WSI before we get into our topic today. So WSI, we've been around for 25 years. Literally, we've helped hundreds of thousands of businesses with their digital marketing since our inception. And we're located across the globe. And really, when COVID-19 hit, we wanted to do something to provide some value to businesses, especially now when businesses are really being forced to digitize. And so this whole series is really based on our book, Digital Minds, and it's there to provide some tips and strategies to businesses that they can implement today to help them kind of cope and digitize themselves with COVID-19. Now, our session today is a great session. And again, the format of our session, these are short 30-minute webinars, typically around 20 minutes of content with about 10 minutes of Q&A. But our session today is about optimizing your online presence. And in the last few sessions, we've talked about communication and the importance of communication today, the right kind of communication for your personas. We've looked at technology to assist in that communication with bots and things like that. Last week, we talked about conversion rate optimization, so really optimizing the experience for the users. But today is really about optimizing things to really generate more business or generate more traffic, and some of the things that you can do as it relates to being found and so forth. And the good news is we're starting to see signs of things opening up, which is great. But I think we've recognized that this pandemic is really changing the way that businesses are going to move forward as well. And Mark's got some great kind of tips and strategies to be thinking about as we come out of this as well. And so our guest today is Mark Jamieson. He comes to us from Canada, our capital city, Ottawa. Mark's actually been, in sales and marketing for over 20 years. He helps a ton of businesses, lots of small to mid-sized clients, but also works with a number of large organizations, including the Government of Canada. Mark is the author of our SEO and social media chapter in our best-selling book, Digital Minds. And he's joining us today here from his office. Mark, you're probably lonely there. Can you jump on there and share some information about what's going on with SEO and social media?
Absolutely. And thanks, Mike. And good morning again, good afternoon, and perhaps even good evening here, depending on where you're tuning in from. As Mike mentioned, my name is Mark Jamieson, and I'm one of the managing partners here at WSI Strategies. And as he said, I come to you from our nation's capital here of Ottawa, Canada. So as Mike said, last year I had the honor of authoring the chapter on SEO and social media in the third edition of WSI's Digital Minds book. And here's a bit of a true story. When I told my now 14-year-old daughter, Julia, that her dad was going to author a chapter in the book, she looked at me with a straight face and said, Dad, are you not good enough to write the whole book? So just in case any of you listening have the same sentiment, I assure you today that the information given is sound. I really would ask that you stick through, right through to the end. I truly believe the information given today is going to make a significant difference here for your business. So what we're going to be looking at today on the agenda really is 5 parts. Understanding the shift in consumer behavior. I think right now we're all seeing that consumers are buying and purchasing products a little bit differently. So we definitely want to take a look at that. Why should you, the business owner, why should your brand care about SEO during and post COVID-19? We're going to take a little bit of time here also today and foresee what the future search is going to look like in the next 3 to 18 months. And really the basis of today's webinar is what I really want to do is give you, the business owners, some tips, some tricks that can help you thrive towards a new normal when it comes to your online presence. Hopefully some of this stuff is some stuff that you can do in-house. Anything that we can do to help you just push forward through this would be great. And hopefully I can get through this quick enough, and we still have about 5 or 10 minutes here for Q&A. So Cheryl, if you don't mind, the next slide. Okay, so here, which is very interesting, on April 25th, McKinsey & Company released an article on how COVID-19 will continue to affect consumer behavior. And in it, they said consumers across countries will remain hesitant to return to international travel. Large public gatherings and trips to the mall, and I would assume this includes some retail, once the effects of COVID-19 decreases. Across most countries, consumers say they will increase online shopping. Next slide, Cheryl. So really what we got to do here is looking ahead at the next normal. I think we can see here that consumers will remain hesitant to return to what we would say some of the activities that were typically part of their daily life before the pandemic started. I really find this to be an interesting slide here because it really gives us a bit of a global interview. Will people still shop in grocery stores? Probably. They need to eat. But shopping in non-physical grocery stores, going to the mall, domestic travel, we can start seeing right now that consumers globally are staying away from travel altogether, except for some of our friends in Germany and France. But for the most part, even a lot of people plan to limit domestic travel. And I think what we can expect to see here is that if people are shopping less frequently in stores, except for stuff like grocery items, we know that it's going to turn the shift to that spending towards online. So I think this is really what we need to understand, what the business community needs to understand, is that the patterns that are now being rewired in our average consumers right now are changing fast, and we really need to adapt quickly here if we want to remain competitive. Cheryl, next slide, please. So I think right now, and I love this term, a contact-free economy. I think at the very least in the short term, and I think what is being predicted now by short term is about 12 to 18 months, I think most of us can agree that the world's going to continue to see a rise in what I'm calling a contact-free economy. And in the world of business, 12 to 18 months is a long time. So really what this means is that the COVID-19 pandemic could really prove to be a decisive turning point in how we engage with and purchase products and services now and for the foreseeable future. And I really, truly do believe that that future right now is going to be on the internet. So what are some things that we're going to start seeing? Well, we're going to continue to see an increase in online inquiries and purchases for both goods and services purchased. Consumers are adapting quickly to the new norm, and in some cases, they're preferring the shift. And this I find very interesting because just speaking with colleagues, speaking with other business people, one thing that we are starting to see right now is not everybody hates what's going on in terms of how they're buying and purchasing products. Some people loving the curbside pickup. Lots of people are loving the fact that groceries are getting delivered into their trunks. A lot of people are loving waking up in the morning and seeing that Amazon box. So I think, again, as the business community, as business owners, we need to understand this shift. And although I do truly believe that, we will at some point go back to what was once upon a time normal, or I sure as hell hope that we will. I think in any case that we are going to start seeing some patterns changing. I think some consumers are going to keep buying their products online. They want to stay out of the stores. And I think as business owners, we need to adapt. And what's really interesting, though, is regardless if you feel you want to adapt or not, consumers still expect that their brands meet their needs. So I think if you're a business owner, you still have a duty to somehow meet the needs of your consumers. And I think that shift right now is online. Cheryl, next slide. So why should your brand care about search engine optimization right now or post-COVID-19? And I think as businesses work to remain top of mind to their customers throughout the pandemic, I think right now it's more important than ever to maintain a strong digital presence, and that should be done through search engine optimization and content marketing. And it could be one of the most important steps right now that you take as a business owner. As we speak in real time right now, brick and mortar stores are finding themselves slowly reopening. Unfortunately, this is still amidst some strong distancing restrictions. And these distancing restrictions are going to limit brick and mortar stores to make the necessary sales that they need to remain open. So again, brick and mortar stores are going to have to adapt and pivot to what is going to be a bit of a digital economy. And never before, in my personal opinion here, but never before has digital marketing become more necessary or relevant to consumers. I think right now that consumers are increasingly shifting their buying activities toward online options, and brands need to be present if they expect to survive right now. So Cheryl, next slide, please. And as consumers are turning to online markets to address their needs, it means that thriving organizations right now are going to be those who are ready to meet them with an excellent online experience and engaging content. So here's a little bit of food for thought for you. And I love this. According to Google Trends, and if some of you are not familiar with Google Trends, just simply a piece of software that Google has where you can enter some search terms, some what we like to call keywords. And Google will show us how these keywords are trending now compared to possibly other dates in the past. And right now, that any search terms that has to do with SEO, what is SEO? Can SEO help my business? How do I do SEO? These search terms have seen a massive spike over the last couple of months. And I assure you, it's not the digital marketers who are typing in these search terms into Google, it's the business owners, and possibly these are your business competitors. They are searching for ways that they can build their brand online, and some of them know that search engine optimization is the way to do that. I think right now people are searching online more than they ever had before, and we're going to look at some stats on that in just a little bit. So shelf that for a moment, very important. And right now, and I truly believe that SEO-focused content could be one of the most cost-effective and direct paths to maintaining your business during these economic downtimes. So if you're a business owner right now looking for solutions, search engine optimization is definitely something that you could be looking at. So talk to your local WSI consultant. They know pretty much everything there is to know about search engine optimization and now how it can help your business. So definitely something that you want to be paying attention to as a business owner. So just in case you're a little unsure of exactly what SEO does mean, here it is really in its simplest form. Search engine optimization, or SEO as we like to call it, is the process of optimizing your online content. This could be things like your web pages, your videos, your blogs, so that search engines like Google and Bing, and there's other ones, there's Yahoo, and there's some other smaller ones out there that are being used, want to show your web pages at the top of the search engine result pages for searches of a certain keyword or key phrase. So quite simply, if you're a business selling a service or a product, and if somebody is typing for that service or product in your city, you definitely want to be coming up on the first page of Google. If possible, you want to be coming up in the first 3 positions of Google. And if you have a great SEO company like the ones at WSI, there's a good chance that you can come up at the first position of Google, which would definitely give you a big chunk of the leads. Next slide here, Cheryl. So foresight right now, I think, is something that we really need to be looking at. Really foreseeing the future of search now and post-COVID-19. And why is foresight in SEO so important? Well, we need to understand the trends and the shifts of what is happening right now. And as search engine optimization experts, this is something that we've always done, but never like this. I think right now we're in unprecedented waters, and we really need to be proactive. But you know, before we can really start foreseeing the future, we need to understand what is happening now. And this is what we're seeing at this present time. E-commerce sites selling essential services are up in traffic. So right now, if you're listening and you're selling essential services and your website is an e-com site and you're not feeling like you're getting the traffic that you want, well, you should be. So it's a good time right now to really look at search engine optimization and how that can help you. Health and wellness sites are exploding. And I think right now people are very concerned about their health. I think for some of the people right now who like going to the gym, possibly like going to the yoga studios, right now they're looking for alternatives online. So again, if you're listening and you're in health and wellness, now is your time to capitalize. Travel websites are all over the map, no pun intended on that one, and I think that's an obvious. Publisher websites are in high demand. What we mean by a publisher website is any website that is providing very newsworthy information. So if you're a publisher right now, whether talking about your local business community, whether they're talking about COVID events, whether even you're a blogger right now with a huge following, this is really a time for you to get your message out. And this is really a great time where search engine optimization could potentially help you. Restaurants and retail have to pivot at this point. And I think this is something that we know. Although doors are opening right now, restaurants are opening, they're opening to limited capacity. So if you're a retailer listening today, if you're a restaurateur listening today, I think right now it's obvious that you need to go online if you expect to keep your doors open. And I can attest to this. There's volatility across almost all websites on the internet right now. And I think for those of you right now who may be looking at maybe a drop in rank, a drop in traffic, we're going to touch on that in a little bit, but right now we all need to take a breath here and start pivoting a little bit and start anticipating what are some of these changes here that we're going to have to do. And this is important. Traditional business leads are slowing down. If your business right now is really was one of those types of businesses that really worked on word of mouth referrals to draw in business, networking was a big part of what you did. Your BNIs, your chambers of commerce, although a lot of these organizations are still online and they're still conducting virtual meetings, we know that it's slowing down, and now might be a good time for you to take a look at how digital marketing can help maybe just fill that gap, at least in the interim, until things open up again and that you can get back into your networking day-to-day activities. Next slide, Cheryl. All right, so what are smart business owners doing right now? And I do like this slide. I do think we're all in this together. We're all feeling some of the same crunches and pains. But really, I think the basis of today's webinar is really to help you, the business owner, give you some proactive tips and tricks that you can actually use right now to help you build your brand online and really for the short term get through this. So Cheryl, next slide if you don't mind. So number one, if you're listening right now and you are an SMB, you need to monitor your consumers' patterns, your consumers' behaviors, and the channel preferences. It's crucial that you be monitoring consumer conversations right now to have a clear understanding of how their habits are evolving, how their interactions with your brands are shifting, and where your brand can meet them to change these needs. So as you're opening up your brick and mortar stores, as you're allowing consumers to come in, keep a close ear to the ground, listen to what they're saying, understand their needs. Part of this may be meeting them online somewhere as well. Analyze your data. Looking at your analytics right now is so important. I'm a lover of data. We use analytics all the time to make decisions, but as business owners right now, you need to use this data to make smart marketing decisions. Also, look at your competitors. Follow them on social media. Now is probably a great time to invest in a competitive analysis to see how your competition is pivoting, how they're selling, how they're keeping their door opens, or even potentially profiting right now during this pandemic. And as well, ask questions. Use social surveys, email marketing surveys, and get the information you need from your client. And again, if you're not sure how to do this, talk to your local WSI consultant because they can help you craft a plan so you can get the information from your consumers that you need to actually be prosperous through this time. Next slide, Cheryl. All right, number two trick, strive for expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. This is what Google calls the EAT principle. And really to rank well on Google today, you need to nurture your brand by building your expertise, your authority, and your trust. And that's exactly what EAT stands for. Google simply doesn't want to serve up links to pages that are uneducated. They don't want to serve up links to pages that are opinion-based or potentially fraudulent or that actually can harm somebody. So really what Google is asking business owners, especially now because of the high demand of traffic on the internet, is that you show expertise. And this often begins with good keyword research and understanding the searcher's intent behind the keywords that you discover. Find out what questions your customers are asking that are relevant today to their needs, and go ahead and craft content to answer those questions and make sure that they're on your website. Your end users are turning to the internet right now to find out about your brand, to find out about the services that you're offering, how you're delivering them, what your hours of operation are. So show that expertise, ensure that that information is there. Secondly, show some authority. Still a big fundamental in SEO, but backlinks from high authority sites still show Google that you're producing original and compelling content. But what I will say to this is don't neglect your brand. Brands that are searched for often by name on the internet are the ones that actually rank for top positions for keywords in Google. So keep that social media going. You can even use some traditional marketing to really be promoting your brand out in your community. We want searchers to know who you are, and we want them to search for you by name on the internet. The more they do that, the more you're going to rank for keywords that you want. And show trust. Right now, trust is imperative. Positive reviews, site security, so important right now. What we call SSLs, or what you may see as HTTPS in your browser, very important. Websites associated with locations tend to do a little bit better. Privacy and cookie policies, make sure they're present on your site. And if you're using a CMS like a WordPress, make sure your CMS is updated, make sure your security plugins are updated, and ensure that you're using great hosting. Cheryl, next slide, please. All right. When it comes to strong SEO strategy that can help you drive more traffic to your website, really, if you want to do so, you need to be managing and controlling the narrative on your channels. And really, there's 3 types of channels that you actually probably own. These are called owned, earned, and paid types of media. And owned media is anything that you've created, your websites, your Facebook pages, your blogs. You need to take stock of this media right now and ensure that it's speaking the right message to today's needs. Your earned media is a little bit different, a little bit harder to control, but you do need to take stock of it. This is really any type of media that has been put out by your consumers, maybe by the press or the public that has shared some of your content. Words that have been spoken about you on the internet. In other words, basically any mentions of your brand have been earned, and these could also be reviews, either positive or negative. So take stock of this earned media and ensure that it is speaking the message that you want it to speak to about your brand. And any paid media really is any third-party channels that you're leveraging that maybe you're paying for to be promoting your brand. This can be any type of display advertising, AdWords, etc. Now is a good time to take a quick look at your paid media and ensure right now that, again, you are speaking the right message to the right people at the right time. Cheryl, next slide. Okay, and this kind of flows into what we're talking about your media right now. A lot of you right now coming into Q1 in January, you probably crafted a very intense digital marketing strategy, which you most or less wanted to implement in Q2, Q3, or Q4 of this year. Right now, I think it's important to understand that this may potentially need to change a little bit, or at the very least, just take a quick look. I think right now that if you have crafted any campaigns, it may be a good idea to reevaluate these campaigns before you keep going with them or before you launch them. I think right now it's important to understand that buying patterns and trends are changing. Digital marketing is still one of your best choices to reach your audience, but the messaging just may need to be tweaked a little bit right now. So again, talk to your local consultants, talk to your local digital marketing company. Again, take a look at your campaigns, audit it, make sure that you've pivoted for what is now the new normal. And as you're doing this, ensure that your brand is addressing consumers' concerns about health and wellness, and again, what you're doing for it to ensure that you're aligning with the new normal at the same time. Cheryl, next slide. Okay, and also take stock of keywords you're currently targeting. Your products or services and the way you deliver them possibly have changed now. And also some of the search terms that people are searching for to find your products and services could have changed as well. So I think smart business owners and smart marketers right now are foreseeing a little bit what terms and questions and platforms are trending. And remember, and I think this is really important, is that we tend to use different types of softwares to do keyword research to find out what type of search volume may now certain keywords have. I think what's important right now that a lot of consumers and even marketers understand is that some of the keywords right now that you should be going after may not even yet exist in Google's database. And even if they do, they may have small search volumes associated with them. I was having a conversation with a client just about a month ago, and he owns a granite countertop company here in the city. And we're talking about a showroom and asking him how business is. He says, man, it's tough. There's nobody coming into the showroom. What can we do? He asked if there's any way we could set up a virtual showroom on the internet. And this got me thinking, right? If this continues, search terms like virtual showrooms for X vertical could be things that could be trending. If I was to do a keyword search for these keywords today, there could possibly be little to no search volume for them. But 6-8 months from now, these could potentially be keywords that are trending. So I think right now, as business owners and marketers, we need to be putting ourselves into the mindset of the consumers and start foreseeing new search terms and go after them today. Understand these searches and what the intent is for them behind the new normal. Cheryl, next slide. Ensure that your mobile presence is optional. And I think today a seamless and fast mobile experience is still what consumers want. If you want to thrive today, this is not an option. You have to have a great mobile presence. And everything you should be doing today, you should anyways be doing for mobile first. In case you're unaware, July 1st, 2019, Google moved to mobile first indexing, simply meaning that Google indexes the mobile version of your website to determine rank. So if you're not providing a good mobile experience, you're just not going to rank well. If you're still unsure about this, take a look at the stat. There was a 50% growth in mobile data usage in March 2020 compared to March 2019, and 54% of all e-com transactions are done on mobile phone. So this in a nutshell should be enough to tell you that you need to have an exceptional mobile experience. So take a look at your mobile site, take a look at what it looks like, and make sure that it's great. And again, if you had a website built in the last few years, your web developer may have told you that you have a responsive website that adapts to all types of different screen sizes. Remember, because your site is responsive does not mean that it is mobile friendly. Cheryl, next slide. And user experience is everything. In this series, when we talk user experience, we often talk about a site navigation, clear calls to actions, accessible forms that can help improve conversions. Although this is all applicable today, I think we need to consider our current state of affairs and consider a different type of user experience. So right now, what I would advise business owners do is narrow your focus a little bit. Think about what you have that your customers need right now and speak directly to those needs front and center on your website. Don't squeeze. I love this quote. Retention is the new acquisition. Helping is the new selling. So move from the hard sell to the soft sell. Focus less on products and services you're offering and focus more on what you can do for your customer today. Make customer service easily accessible. If I could say one thing right now, if you're a business owner with a website, make sure your phone numbers, your email addresses, your new hours of operations, instructions for pickup, delivery, ensure that they're easily accessible on your website. Don't make people hunt for this, and give assurances. Ensure your end user that you're able to deliver even though that things are a little bit slower right now. Stand behind your product, stand behind the services that you're offering, and let them know that you're following your country's health guidelines. I think this is really important. This is something that consumers need to be reassured of. Cheryl, next slide on that. So again, just as a quick recap here, what you need to be doing as a business owner, again, monitor consumer patterns and behaviors, strive for expertise, authority, and trust. Proactively manage your web presence. Please take stock of your online properties right now and ensure that they're speaking the right message to what is happening right now with COVID-19. Audit your upcoming content and your campaigns. Ensure again that they're speaking the right message, that it is the right campaign to launch at the right time. Take stock of your keywords and have some foresight. Start anticipating keywords right now that people are going to be searching for in the next 3, 4, 6, 12 months. Get that mobile presence up, make sure it's exceptional, and focus on the user experience. Cheryl? And in summary here for everybody listening, I think right now we can all agree that purchasing habits are changing via a contactless economy. Right now as a business owner, I think you need to monitor and foresee customer patterns, and you need to pivot. Even if it's for the short term, for the next 12 to 18 months, you need to do something different than you were doing 3 or 4 months ago. Smart business owners need to react and adapt quickly. And I truly believe this SEO is a cost-efficient investment for you right now during COVID-19. So take a look at it, speak to your local WSI digital marketing consultant, and they can help you navigate some of these waters. And again, back to you, Mike.
Great, thanks, Mark. And obviously a lot of content and a lot of great tips that you shared there. We do have some really good questions here that I want to get to.
Sure.
And I know you've agreed to stay on for a few minutes longer so that we can get to some of the questions. Before we get there, I just want to remind people that you can learn more about SEO as well as a number of other digital marketing tactics we've been talking about in our Digital Minds book. It's available on Amazon. You can search WSI Digital Minds. Also want to just remind you about the fact that if there's anything here that you've kind of taken away or questions that you have, maybe we don't get to the questions today, reach out to your local consultant that invited you. Obviously, they can take you through and spend more time going through the specifics of your question. But also, if you don't know who that is, you can reach out to us at contact@wsiworld.com. Also want to just quickly remind you about our next session, which is Mark's talked a little bit about looking at your analytics here today. And we're going to spend more talking about web analytics and really tracking those insights for your business. And that's again happening next Wednesday at 11:30 time with Andreas from California, who wrote our chapter on analytics. So I think we can get to some Q&A here, Mark. We've had a few questions coming in just about how would people find out what keywords are most relevant for their business?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, most digital marketing agencies have a number of different types of softwares that they can use to search out what keywords are trending right now, what type of search volume is associated with a certain keyword or a key phrase. Some simple things that you can do as a business owner is really just start doing some of those Google searches and look at the bottom of the search engine result page. And Google also gives some variations of these different keywords that possibly tend to be trending. So these are things that you can easily do, but really, if you want to get an in-depth know-how of really what people are searching for, you would have to turn to an agency that could actually do that keyword research. And keyword research is really something that we spend a lot of time with. It's quite extensive, and it really is the foundation of a good search engine optimization campaign. So it's something that you want to take seriously. So I would, definitely some things that you can do yourself to see what is trending. But if you really want to take it to the next level, talk to a consultant that can do that for you.
Okay, great. We've got a question here, and you brought up a really good point about the fact that some of the keywords that consumers will be searching for and will be trending in the future are not currently indexed right now by Google. Do you have any sense as to maybe broad concept as to what some of those keywords might be so that businesses can start to think about, hey, maybe I should be writing some content around, some of these things that could be potentially coming up in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I really do truly believe this. I think I don't think there's ever been a time that we need to have, be able to really look to the future a little bit and anticipate. And typically in digital marketing, we don't like to anticipate of what the what ifs might be, but I think at this point we don't have a choice. So definitely, if you're a business owner right now and you're starting to pivot a little bit, you're possibly taking more product online. Maybe you're developing certain softwares. Maybe you're making your showrooms available online. Anticipate as to how people are going to be searching for these products. I think right now people are concerned about health and safety. So, they're asking questions like, how safe is your store to enter right now? But on a keyword side, I think virtual is going to be a big trending search term. Anything that is virtual is going to trend in 3, 4, 6 months. So virtual showrooms, again, we talked about this a little bit. Maybe you're a kitchen company, maybe you're a renovator, maybe you're the type of business that has a brick and mortar store that brings people in. People are going to be wanting to see this online, and I think one of the big search trend terms is going to be virtual. So anything with virtual in it will be something that you're going to want to start capitalizing and optimizing on today.
Right. I think you alluded a little bit to this. I like this question here because obviously we've seen the restaurant industry has been hit probably among the hardest of any of the industries. And as we kind of come out of this, is there anything that you would recommend for a restaurateur, as they move to that dine-in experience? I think you sort of alluded to some of the content you want to be doing, but maybe you could answer that.
Yeah, for the restaurants, obviously, is that we realized that you're going to be limited by capacity, which means that your consumers are going to be asking the questions. Right now, I think restaurants, they're either really great or really terrible when it comes to the web presence. So right now, if you're a restaurant and you have a website, I think right now ensure that your menus are easily read. Ensure that you're taking pictures of what the new restaurant's going to look like with the social distancing, with the new patterns that are going to be taken into place. You need to give the end users a great experience online, because this is what they're going to be looking at. They're not peeking inside the doors anymore. They're not walking by the restaurant and opening up to see how it looks. They're going to be doing that research online. And now's not the time to have a cookie cutter website. Now's the time to invest a little bit and do something phenomenal that is going to help you stay afloat for the next 12 to 18 months until some things do get back to normal.
Okay, great. Let's maybe go to one more question here. So we've had a couple questions just about the technical aspects of SEO.
Sure.
Maybe with regards to on-page SEO. We've talked about the off-page and the content and things like that. Anything that you would sort of recommend tip-wise as it relates to some of the on-page SEO?
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now, and I don't want to get too technical with this, but look at your schema. That's something that's probably going to have to be updated on your website right now. Very important. I think I would even revisit your metadata a little bit, your page titles, your meta descriptions. Now is a little bit of a good time to rewrite that, give your end users some different information, as I'm sure it has changed the way that you're delivering your services, the way that you're delivering your products. So make sure that you do update your metadata. And again, and I said this previously, obviously, technical SEO is definitely a big thing, but search engine optimization is so much more than technical. It's all about the content. So one of the things that I've repeated throughout this webinar is that just make sure that the important things are front and center on your website. Anticipate what it is that your clients are searching for. Again, reassure them that it's safe to purchase from you, and make sure that that is prominent on the homepage of your website right now. But on a very technical side, definitely look at your schema, ensure that's optimized, make sure that microdata is rewritten a little bit better now. Look at your metadata at the same time, and yeah, now's a good time to really look at load speeds, obviously, on your website. I think as more and more consumers are going to the internet, they want a fast, seamless experience. So I would definitely look at updating your hosting a little bit, cleaning up the website to ensure that your images are not lagging your website, and increase that speed if you can.
Right. And I know there's a lot of factors that come into SEO, and you mentioned a few of them there. Page speed, things like that. And I think it's important to know. I mean, this window that we've been in really has provided, some businesses that opportunity to really renovate, so to speak. When we talk about restaurants, a lot of times they have to close to do the renovations to open up stronger than they were before. And I think for many businesses, this has been sort of a forced closure, and this can be a great time to do the renovations. And SEO is, certainly it's one of those things you talked about, the earned media, the paid media, the owned media, and it's really a combination of those. And so SEO is definitely something that you build on, and it grows over time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really just one piece of effective digital marketing in terms of traffic generation.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. And I think right now, I think a lot of business owners are probably considering a revamp on the websites. I think a lot of business owners right now that they need to provide a different experience to the consumers. So right now, if you are planning on revamping your website, possibly rebuilding a new website, don't forget the search engine aspect to this. Talk to a digital marketing consultant, talk to a WSI consultant. Again, you can have the best website in the world, but if nobody's seen it, what's the point? So I truly believe that if you are building a website right now, ensure that you are optimizing it to its full potential.
Perfect. Great session, Mark. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for all your questions. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to everybody. I know there's a couple of technical questions in there as well, and I'm sure your consultant will follow up with you to get you some more details on that. And again, as Mark said, we're certainly here to help businesses, and so reach out to us. If you don't know who that is, reach out to contact@wsiworld.com. And also just want to remind you about the next session. We'll look forward to seeing you next week, where we'll take a deeper dive into web analytics and looking at what are those tips and what are those insights that matter the most. We've got a lot of data now that's available to us, but how do we interpret that data? And you're going to hear from Andreas next week about some real practical, simple strategies that you can use to interpret some of that information and apply it to your business today. So we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Mark, thanks again. Thank you, everybody.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yep. And stay safe. Bye now.
Cheers.